The next part that we're going to make is the rivet. This is the sixth part. There's only one page right here. There's no step-by-step for dimensioning and stuff like that. It's all just laid out, and it expects that you should be able to do this. So I'm going to show you I'm going to show you one way that you could make this using just the revolve tool, so that ultimately you end up having something that looks like this. And when it's done, it will look like this. So you're going to, again, create a new part. Make sure that when you create the new part, you select the correct plane. So I've got my XY plane, and I'm going to start a sketch. The first thing I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to take the overall dimensions. So overall, it's 0.125 from here to here, and 0.320 from here to the top. So I'm going to make a rectangle, and I'm going to use this as a guide. So I think it was 0.320, and the width is 0.125. So you'll have something that looks like this. I'm zoomed out a little bit, so I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little easier. And now I'm going to start placing some lines. The first line that I'm going to place right here is this dotted construction line. Construction lines can be accessed by clicking this icon right here under the Format panel. It now will change my lines to construction lines, and I'm just going to draw this line. And it doesn't really matter as long as how big it is, as long as you don't go crazy with it. And then I'm going to turn this off so that my next set of lines are not construction lines. And then I'm going to dimension this line away from this point. And the dimension that they have given us is 1.50, or I'm sorry, 0.150. And then I'm going to make my next line down here. It's just a little tiny line, and it's at 0.010. So I'm going to make a line down here that is 0.010, hit enter, and it's really, really small. I'm zooming so you can see it. And then I'm going to take this line, I'm going to dimension its distance from here to here and place it over here. And the distance it wants for this one is 0.20. So I'm going to go ahead and set that one. That line's in the correct place. And then I'm going to make this line right here. And they don't give us the distance from here to here, so there's a couple of ways that you could do this. You can draw a line going over and get the distance, or you can just draw the line and put it at the appropriate height, so 0.050, so 0.050, and place it, and then I can use the dimension tool to place it from here to here. Now what I can do with this one, if I don't know the dimension, which I believe it's 0.40, is I could take 0.125 and subtract 0.085. So I can set 0.125 minus 0.08, is it 85? Yes. And then I can hit the checkbox, and it will do the math for me so that I don't have to add it up. Next thing that I'm going to place is an arc from this point to this point, and then I'm going to slightly bring it out here. I don't want to like connect it to anything, but I'm going to bring it out here, and I'm going to set this one to 0.075. So 0.075, hit enter, and it will place the arc and the dot where it's supposed to. And then we're going to start working on this section over here. So I'm going to make another line, and I'm going to place this line, which is set 0.040, 0.04. And then before I even go up, I'm going to dimension this line away from this point right here, and I'm going to set it to 0.082. Now, you could dimension this line after you finish drawing, but in doing so, it will mess up other parts, and it will try to adjust the sketch, and it will make lines cross over, and you'll end up having to fix more things than you want to. So just make sure you hit that measurement before you put this line on. It's not the only way, but that's one of the ways it can be done. 0.136 for this one. And then this line goes over 0.051. So 0.051 which is actually a little bit longer than our box, and you'll see that here. I'm going to escape, and I'm going to actually hit X, or you can go up here and hit trim, and I'm going to cut this section off. As long as it did everything right, the line will still be longer than it's supposed to be, and I'll have the rest of my box. So I could cut that section off, and if I do, you'll notice that it adjusted my lines, which is exactly what I don't want to happen. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to connect, or I'm actually going to delete this line, and I'm going to make a line going up 0.016. It's really hard to read on mine, but 0.016, and I'm going to hit enter. So I've got my line in place. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this dimension line so it doesn't force the dimension anymore. And I'll bring this one out here so it's out of my way. Go ahead and go to your arc and place an arc from here to here, and this arc should be at 0.150. 0.150, and hit enter. So you'll notice that my point locked that point like it's supposed to, and then I can just left click on this line and hit the delete key. I now have this done. I can revolve this shape as it is now, or if you really need to, you could trim the remainder of this portion off like this, and then you can finish your sketch and revolve. And it should revolve relatively easily just by clicking on the axis line. If you didn't delete that line, first you're going to have to select the profile, which would be this area, and then the axis line. So I'm going to select the axis line, and it's going to rotate. Set it to whatever color it is that you want to set it to, depending on probably what you set your handle to, and then save the file. And again, we're saving the file as Rivet. So File, go to Save As, and make sure it's in your pizza cutter folder. If you haven't created one at this point, please create one and then save it as Rivet. Once you're done with that, you should be able to go to the next portion and begin your assembly.